So put in that work. Let's make it happen. Let's create the currency. Let's create the backing. We don't even have to create the backing of the currency. God already did. It's already here on the continent.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is with black people? We keep following everybody. We're the first people. Then let's start going out to the rural areas so you can see and learn, connect, eat the food out of that black pot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I see the ladies in Mzansi. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Ooh, girl, what's going on? Let me slow down. Girl.
and what you're seeing around is not BBLs. It's a real thing,
ain't no BBL.
That's a natural thing,
that's just
bro.
big.
Welcome to the Hustlers Corner. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, be a part of the team. We are very excited. I know. I'm excited to be back on radio, guys. It feels really great to be back. It's taken a decade. I mean, I left I got fired out of the SABC to go start my thing, Massive Metro. I want to shout out all the young people that we worked with at Massive. I'm proud of all of y'all. I see you guys at SABC. I see you guys working for 702. I see you guys working at Kaya FM, at YFM, Metro FM, and just a lot of the young people that I've been blessed to work with at Massive Metro during my absence from the SABC. I'm blessed and I'm very proud of you guys. It's great to see you all thrive. Now I'm also back in the mainstream media. I just started my radio show. Actually, my radio show started today. My first radio show started today, and I just took over a legend that I grew up watching, listening on the radio, watching him on TV, listening to his music, buying his mid-tempo albums. Glenn Lewis, thank you for everything, sir. Thank you, Grootmane Rona. And congratulations with your new gig at Kaya FM. I just want to tell you that I'm going to make you proud, holding down the morning show, your previous morning show. And if, guys, you didn't know, catch me. I'm back with the mainstream media, with the public broadcaster, the SABC. Find me hosting the Radio 2000 morning show. Yes, Uvuga no Subudi Ekseni. Danko. An exciting one is that I've got President Lavell here. I just want to give you guys a bit of an intro so you get to understand his resume before we get into our conversation. He's a visionary and charismatic leader. He's at the helm of the United Global Kingdoms of Africa. Yes, he is the president of UGKA, a groundbreaking community development company which is based in South Africa, and it represents the interests of both the diaspora community and the continental African. With a diverse background in entertainment and education, President Walton brings a unique perspective to the task of leadership towards liberation, autonomy, restoration, and strength. President Lavell Walton is a multifaceted leader. He is a political figure. He is an entertainer. He plays instruments. He writes. He loves music. He's a creative mind, and he was born in a family of visionaries. And his journey towards leadership, man, began with a passion of creating positive change. And for me, instead of reading this entire resume, because it's too long, he's achieved a lot of things, it'll be great to hear it from the horse's mouth. Welcome to South Africa, my brother.
Good. I'm doing well. Peace and blessings, bro.
Good to see you.
Talk. Yes, sir.
How are you doing? How have you been?
Man, that was such an extensive resume. I didn't even know it was all there.
You've done a lot of work, bro.
Yeah. No, I'm doing good, man. I feel good. I'm home. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I feel like I'm at home, bruh. You know, right here on the continent, right where I belong, right where all of us belong.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
You dressed well.
I try, man. I try to keep it saucy.
And I love the green in the background.
Yes, sir, man. Nature, man. We home with it.
and maybe let me mention, I think the last time I saw you was sometime early last year.
Yeah.
We recorded a great episode with Mr. Dalton Jr. And you were sort of in the background, and you're just behind the scenes and quiet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you've got your own thick resume of your own.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wasn't my time to speak up. I just kind of sat the background. It was meant for somebody else, Mr. Dalton, to do his thing, and communicate with you and build relationship the way that he's seen fit. For me, it was kind of all about once you're done and they're off the camera, we'll talk then, man. We'll just build relationship.
Yeah.
That way it starts off genuine and it ends genuine. You feel me?
And let me congratulate Mr. Dalton Jr. Thank you so much for an incredible interview, bro. It's been almost a year now. I think it'll be nice for us to reconnect again. He's doing incredible work, guys. If you haven't seen that episode, go maybe 50 episodes ago. Just scroll down the episodes and you'll find an episode of the creator, producer, and writer of a documentary series that have got multiple parts that's called Hebrews to Negroes, right? So go check that episode out, and then just go check out his website and his work. He's doing incredible work, and I know he's got a movie coming up recently. How is he doing?
I haven't talked to him in a minute. I think he's doing pretty good. He's staying in his lane and working, man.
Nice.
It's been a while since I talked to him. I've been incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Incredibly busy, man. Just connecting with those here in South Africa, those in Ghana, and those in the diaspora. Just trying to create that bridge so people can, one, come home, and two, reconnect, man. Return, reconnect. That's what it's all about.
Let's start with your resume. And I mean, take your time. I'm not in a hurry.
Word.
I'm looking forward to understanding who you are. What's your story? What's your background? Just give us a bit of a background about your life.
I'll summarize it. Man, I'm born and raised in Seattle, Washington. Born in the Central District, right in the heart of the hood. Came up in the early 80s and the 90s right there in Seattle.
So you're my generation.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
79, you are?
Yeah, 80, 1980.
Same generation.
Come on,
same
man.
Age, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We're right there.
We're looking good. We're looking after ourselves.
Hey, man, we fly. We keep it saucy, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's so I grew up in that era, man, right in the hood. So I communicate and relate with those who are in the struggle as well as those who are in the collegiate level, because I remember, matter of fact, I was 17, 18 years old. I got kicked out of the studio. So my background as a hip-hop artist, right? I got kicked out of the studio because I wasn't going to school.
So you used to rap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I still got it, man. And,
Yeah.
Hey, we this age, but we still got a little sauce to it.
Yeah.
So I got kicked out of the studio because I wasn't going to school, man. I was in the streets. And that messed with me. I didn't think I didn't think they were for real about it. But they kicked me out the studio, and I took my butt to school so I can get back into the studio. That was the whole purpose. Found myself loving being in school, loving education, taking the time to learn and grow and expand the mind. And man, that's just kind of the journey. It was the moment when my life shifted, and I started thinking about higher learning, basically the people, as Malcolm X says it, the field Negro and the house Negro. I started paying attention to the movement, so that was the start of that journey. And from there on out, man, I would say the Most High, so Nini Na Nini, got a hold of my life, you know what I mean, and started talking to me like, yo, you going left, you need to be going straight. You know what I mean? And so from that point on, I just committed myself to just walking that fine line, that getting to that small gate in that narrow way. Hasn't been easy. Of course, made some blunders along the way, but man, I'm in it for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? So
what was going on in the U.S. at the time, in the 80s, when you were a little kid?
Yo, man.
Especially for the black community.
Gang banging, man. Gang banging, robbing, stealing. Some things I was a part of, some things I wasn't. I was raised around a lot of hustlers and pimps, like a lot of pimps, man, a lot of hustlers. So I learned some of the negative, but I also learned some of the positive in the mix of it. A lot of drug dealing. I got to see a lot of family members and their friends strung out on drugs. In fact, I remember one of my family members, I got caught up in the mix, man. I started selling drugs, and I sold to some of my family members thinking that they were going to resell it. That was the whole plan, and that's what they communicated with me, only for me to walk into the house one day and catch my dad, you know what I'm saying, smoking the things I sold. And from that right after that, man, I went and flushed it down the toilet. I couldn't handle that. Like, this is my pops, this is my dad. You know what I mean? Who put a lot on the line for me. So I went and flushed the drugs down the toilet, and I couldn't do it. So I went from crack to marijuana, started selling that, And Then after a while, I just stopped selling weed and started selling clothes. And I found that, the hustle can extend to things that are more legit instead of things that are detrimental to the community. And that was kind of like the shake up for me. You know what I mean?
So we're still in the 80s. Let's make the timeline more visible so the audience understand. What is the type of music you're listening to now? We're in the 80s.
Man.
You're a kid at the time.
Come on, man.
This is before the 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
I think this is R&B was huge at the time in the 80s.
Yeah. Hey, don't think us grown, man. Don't think us old.
Right?
I was so in the 80s, man, most of my family members were older than me, so I got hooked on a lot of 70s music from George Clinton, P-Funk, to Maze and Frankie Beverly, to War and all them, Earth, Wind and Fire. I was hooked. But my cousins got me hooked on hip hop, so I was listening to Spice One, Too Short, NWA, Eric B and Rakim, KRS-One. The list goes on. I'm hooked on this all in the 80s, and then I found myself at I was 5 years old reciting Too Short rhymes with my mom.
Too Short.
Oh
at
man,
5 years old.
Yeah, you know better.
Remember his music?
Yeah, that was bad. I'm looking at my mom like, hey, you shouldn't have let me say that. But she was young, mother. But I was over there on Too Short reciting his rhymes. I started freestyling when I was 7 years old. I started writing my first song. I'll never forget. I was 12, turning 13. My first song called "A Bullet Has No Name." First song I ever wrote in my life, man.
7 years old.
No. That time, 7 years old, I was freestyling. That was still the 80s. So
you were 5.
Right at the transition of the 90s. Yeah. Right at the transition of the 90s is when I wrote my very first song. So, it was the 80s. It was wild, man. I just started reciting him and NWA, Eazy-E, all them guys, man. I was hooked.
These are the days of the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
So are you doing any mixtapes?
Look, it was right after
selling any of your stuff.
It was right after the 8-track. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I didn't record. I just loved it, man. I was just loving the art of expression, the opportunity to be free and just say what you're gonna say. Yeah. So I didn't record anything until I was, I think my first album, I was 16, 17 years old.
Okay, you're a teenager now. So now we're talking the early 90s.
The
right?
90s now, mid-90s. Yeah.
And talking about the 90s, what is your knowledge of what's going on in I don't want to say Africa, I want to say South Africa, but at the same time, I know when you're in the US, for a lot of African American brothers and sisters, it's Africa. It's just all Africa.
Right,
some of them don't know that it's actually a huge continent with many countries, right?
Right.
Yeah. What was your knowledge of Africa at the time?
I had very little. I had a few guys that I knew from school. I remember this brother named Francis. I think he was from Uganda. But I thought Africa is just one big country. I didn't see it as multiple countries or this vast plain where many peoples of many different backgrounds are living. Started as one country. And then I hear, oh, that's where we come from. But I didn't have any connection to it. I was just, I was still off in the hood. Boys in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I was still off into that. So I didn't see anything other than my neighborhood and my surroundings. So that was my view on it. I didn't have a heart or desire to learn or reconnect until I turned 18. And when I turned 18, I was at a class. Like I said, I wasn't going to school. I got kicked out of the studio. When I finally went back, there was a lady named Miss G, black lady. She started teaching us about ancient civilizations of Africa, about the mindset that we need to reattach to or reconnect with. It was that moment I started thinking, like, hey man, what's this? I hear this African American, but what's this African part? Expound on that. Tell me more about that. You know what I'm saying? So I had no mindset to it until I was 18.
And this is an era where when you watch a lot of movies, you're being shown thin kids with flies. Ethiopia and Rwanda going through the most at the time. There's a lot of poverty in a lot of African countries. We're going through our own struggle at the same time. We're watching a lot of African American movies, and every movie there's just seems to be this character that happens to be this African brother. Who's always trying to tell the guys to be conscious.
Right.
And everybody just clowns him.
Right.
And this is on every movie. This is Boys in the Hood.
Right.
This is New Jack City.
Sharif.
This is all of those movies. Yeah. And let's talk more about that.
Yeah.
Because this consciousness is happening now. As much as you're getting the knowledge at school, but also in these movies, what you're learning at school, you're sort of trying to figure it out, but there wasn't the internet at the time.
Yeah. Okay. So it's funny because I didn't think about that until you just said it. I'm like, dang, it really was. All them hood movies, there was at least one dude trying to say we need to reconnect with consciousness back to our hometown, our homelands. And I didn't see that, but that's true. Like, now it's like, so there was a phrase, the revolution that will not be televised.
Yeah.
You heard of that?
Yeah, it's still popular even now. Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay, word. So the funny part is, based on what you just said, little bits and pieces was televised. But it's hard to see that when you caught in the mix, right? But I didn't have anybody other than Miss G to kind of, reconnect me to that consciousness. And then all of a sudden it just sparked in me, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it started, moving toward the 2010s, basically, where it really sparked in my spirit, like, yo, man, I need to know. Like, enough questioning, enough. I don't believe everybody got flies going around their ribs and, big bellies and no food. I got to know, like, what's really happening over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, my family members, they weren't thinking none of this. My mom's side, dad's side, nobody think about Africa.
They'd never been here?
Nah, not one yet.
Okay.
Not one yet. I'm still working with them, but a few of them said, yo, we need to go to Ghana, we need to go to South Africa. I'm telling them, you need to come down here first. Start here. And in all transparency, I think here is the easiest transitional place for those who are born and raised in the city in the States. You need to come to South Africa. It's easier to transition. Then let's start going out to the rural areas so you can see and learn, connect, eat the food out of that black pot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Eat that. Let your blood remind you who you are. Now let's go to the rest of the continent. Experience over there. But start home. Start here, So
it's so interesting, man. We've always been connected to you guys, and it irritates me when I find out from a lot of African American brothers and sisters when they say all of this stuff has been hidden from us.
Yeah,
we've just been made to be divided from all of you, right? And we think you guys don't like us.
Yeah,
and that's a I don't swear, but that's a shitty narrative, bro.
Yeah.
Because we love y'all.
Sure.
We watch your movies. We grew up on hip hop, right? And you see it.
Yeah.
When you land here, wherever you go, you see the love.
Everywhere.
Once they hear your accent, you see how they treat you.
Like, yo.
Yeah. Nobody treats you unless one or two people. Every place has got conmen and scammers and whatever.
Yeah.
But most people, wherever you go, you get a lot of love. And what do you have to say about the first time you landed here and the experience?
Yo, man, the first time I landed here, that was exactly what I experienced, man. People like, yo, you know how South
like yo. Even here in Thailand, the audience is like saying nah and yo. Yeah.
They be like, you from the U.S.? Eyeball. So I'm sitting there, like, I'm cracking up because I'm like, oh, these are the slanguage. This is the slanguage of South Africa. All right, let's work with that. Takes me a while to learn the words, but the slang and the tone, I get that quickly. But nah, man, when I first landed, man, it was just everybody was just welcoming. It was love. It was. I felt Ubuntu the moment I landed. You know what I'm saying? That connection. So when I got here the first time, June 2022, I stayed for 6 months, got the vibe and connect and eat the food and go a few places and just connect with folks. And then I left and came back, I want to say early April 2023.
So the first time I was 21.
22. First
2022.
So 21, I was in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Nice.
July 2021.
And shout outs to Ghana, man.
Yo.
Shout outs to brothers and sisters there. And I just want to say shout outs to the Ghanaian government for that program to get our African brothers and sisters coming back to the
Yes.
continent. We love you guys. Thank you for the incredible work.
Yes. Yeah, that door of return was huge, man. So I was there for about a month in 2021. Then I went back to the U.S., started preparing myself. Certain events happened that pushed me faster, to get my butt back home to the continent. So I came to South Africa June 1st, 2022. 6 months here, left back to the U.S. for about 4 months, 4 or 5 months, something like that. I came back, I think it was early April. Connected with King Bhungane of the Imbo Kingdom, we started pushing forward to make this UGKA happen. I took the mantle, or took the responsibility that the Most High gave to lead and spearhead this movement early May of 2023. Then I left in June, Came back out here September, and we still pushing hard, man.
And before UGKA, let me take you a little bit back.
Yeah.
Your educational background and some of the things that you've done as far as work is concerned, and your creativity and all of the arts. And I just want to know how you were making a living in the US. What were you doing? What was your life before UGKA?
Yeah, man, my life was really in entertainment and education. So I was a teacher. I had a class that I was teaching all black boys in Seattle, Washington, public schools, man. And oddly enough, that class was called Kingmakers. Oddly enough, the program was called Kingmakers. And I was teaching that for about 4 or 5 years, something like that, for about 4 or 5 years. And started just training these boys to know their innate greatness, know who you really are, know the power of who you are, know that you're not at the bottom, you're at the top. You've just been sitting on the bottom for too long. You know what I mean? That's been the mindset, and then preparing them to go ahead and excel and be the greatest version of themselves. And nobody can stop that. Nobody can determine that. You determine where you're going to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm teaching them and educating them and filling them in with that. But all the while, I didn't know I was being taught. In this whole process, I didn't know I was going to be taught. And so my mind began to open up, and Africa began to be, it was almost like Africa from way over the waters was called to me. Like the urgency was real, yo. I'm telling you, Spoo, the urgency was real. And then I was in entertainment and music. So I did acting, I did modeling. I was a hip hop artist, man. I started, like I said, when I was 12 years old, I wrote my first song. 15 years old, I was performing in adult clubs. And I mean, pretty much almost every other weekend, my entire high school years, I was performing in adult clubs. I opened up for artists like Drew Down and Marcus Houston, you know, Immature. I started opening up for Kirk Franklin and Kim Burrell and Kiara Shear. And I mean, the list goes on. Dorinda Clark Cole, Lecrae. I started opening up for a lot of artists. Found myself doing a song in the 2000s for the Seattle Seahawks, NFL team, the Seattle Symphony. I mean, the list goes on, man. I just found myself so caught up in this world of expression. You know what I mean? And when it came to the educational part, it's like everything I've learned, I had to give to them. My problem was I started seeing, like you said, those old movies, the Boys in the Hood and the Menace to Society. I started listening to those guys who were talking about consciousness a little bit deeper. Now, I didn't know that they were, you know, it was almost like Africa calling home, saying, hey, y'all in the diaspora, come home. Wasn't paying attention to that.
So, sorry to disturb you. Have you ever watched, around that time, a movie called Birth of the Nation?
I still to this day, I never watched it.
Gotta check it out, bro.
12 Years a Slave and Birth of a Nation. Never watched it.
Okay.
So those movies, man, I never watched them. I got caught up on so many of these. They push all these slave movies, these slave narratives. And I remember Miss G teaching us and telling us, like, yo, it's to keep your mind focused on the bad instead of seeing the opportunity to move beyond it. Not just this opportunity of, oh, yeah, let's integrate and come together and kumbaya. Nah. But the opportunity to be free, the opportunity to separate yourselves. So I haven't seen Birth of a Nation or 12 Years a Slave. The last slave-based movie I seen was Harriet. The story about Harriet Tubman. Yeah.
Harriet
The last one I seen, and I was actually inspired from bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
You know.
What is that other movie again that was very popular? The Kunta Kinte movie?
The Roots.
The Roots, yeah. We checked that one out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm very familiar with that.
And let's talk about the books as well. What are some of the books that you're reading at the time, or maybe the few 1 or 2 or 3 books that you can say sort of paved or changed your life around that time?
Very first book I ever read, cover to cover, that I truly enjoyed was, oddly enough, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah.
That changed my life.
Yeah, that changed my life, man. I was haunted with entrepreneurship, you know, and then
I'm actually speaking alongside him next week.
Oh, word.
I'm opening for him, at the Santon Convention Center. If you're around, you're more than welcome to come through.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully, I
see me in action on stage.
Yeah. The man, the myth, the legend. I got you, man. Yeah, man. That book shifted everything for me. Like, I was haunted by the ideal that there was a beyond the employee mindset, the enslavement mindset. There's an ideal of somewhere beyond. Like, I can be successful. I can spark the minds and the brains of those who listen. I can be a part of that sphere of influence, if that makes sense. So this first book I read, then I started reading another book called 4 Cash Flow Quadrants from the same author.
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki. I know that one as well.
And then Who Moved My Cheese?
Who Moved My Cheese was a brilliant book. Brilliant
Spencer
book,
Johnson, brilliant.
Oh, that's why you're here. Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
So you came here to get your cheese.
Hey, I need all of that, bro. I need all of that. But you know, that book. Okay, so my favorite part in that book, man, was when he said, "What would you do if you weren't afraid?" And I thought about that. He said, "You would do the thing, so just do it." Started thinking about Nike, like, dang, y'all been telling me this whole time, just do it, man. Just go get that. So I'm like, all right, forget it. Let's go hard. Let's go get it, you know?
Yeah.
But those books, man, those changed, those revolutionized the way I thought about everything, you know? And of course, many books after that, but that was the start, you know what I'm saying? So. And
then COVID happens, because it's just before you came to South Africa.
Oh, man. Hey, man, I actually, I wrote a song, man. I wrote a verse about that because I paid attention to how everything was shifting one hand and the other, man. COVID, I think, was more of a plandemic than a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know.
Rest in peace to Dr. Rashid Buttar, whom I interviewed during COVID. Guys, if you haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. I think it was around 2020. He passed on, sadly. He passed on a few months ago. He's the guy that actually opened me up. And from the beginning, I was aware that this whole thing was...
it was a
pandemic.
Yeah, a pandemic.
And shout outs to Dr. What is her name again? Dr. Judy Mikovits. I just want to shout her out, as well as Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, and the shout outs are going to continue. There's so many people who were affected by that. It was all a setup. It was like, honestly, felt like it was like a test lab, but in real time, to see how does this thing work. Will people be affected? And you know, we found out in the U.S. It was like a quick snippet on the news. We found the reporter saying it's odd that those who are in Africa aren't as affected as those in other countries. Now, it's not to say black people are not affected, but not as severely as many of the other countries in Asia and Europe, even in the U.S. You know, in fact, with COVID, man, my school that I was working at was the school. We had an employee there. When he got COVID, the rest of the country after that shut down, and then the rest of the world. So it started right there. And oddly enough, in Seattle, Washington, 20 minutes away from where my grandmother raised me, all the way was Microsoft, which was owned by Bill Gates, who had been pushing the agenda of a shot. Now, ain't that something? And that's where it started, and that's where all shutdowns began. You know, I was furious when all this stuff happened. I even wrote a song, man. I'm gonna say it. I said, "Death before dishonor. I hear your honor say, come out of her. Babylon is fallen. Heed the calling. Don't you straddle her." Garvey told us, eyes up. Malcolm told us, wise up. Countless Negroes died from their lives. Will you wise up, young travelers? Believe and return. Be awakened now. Every idol made of wood and stone, you got to take them down. And this is where we pack and make a pact, not relax on our morals. If we die today, long live tomorrow. This is for Philando, Trayvon, Eric Reed, Mike Brown, Ray Shard, George Floyd, Stephen Clark. You count them down. Alton, Freddie Gray, Eric Garner, Tatiana Aura, Tamir Rice, Gabriella and Brianna. Plenty of us died like our black skin's a penalty. Cursed since birth, the only logical extremity. Integration, it offered vulnerability to our enemies, confederate against us. Study Psalm 83. See, the awakening happened, then coronavirus dropped. Social media changed their policies, many Hebrew channels blocked. Tech giant joined the health industry, said we need a shot. Joe Biden said, POTUS looks good, then he commits to shoot his shot. Black people said, hooray, just to get Trump out of the office. But since when did any president benefit us in office? And when did any prophecy promise us all a profit? These televangelists been screwing my people for heavy pockets. Creflo need $1. Paula White need black angels. Babylon and our harlots looking so unfaithful. Dang. They'll tell you, Spoo, church hurt. Well, I swear I'm asking the church, if this Jesus is Hebrew, When Negroes die, who bows first? My people protect their frenemies. How? Mixed intimacy. Wow. Predictive programming vows to keep rolling this out. And y'all think I'm judging. Well, look now. Our blood screams from the ground. Our ancestors cry out. Look what our children allow. They won't return to God's commandments. And their Christian pastors say grace. Urban apologists lie to keep the feed on our plates. They say you are what you eat. We look like pigs in a blanket, cause some in love with the slumber and take the slop at the banquet. I feel my people been duped, desensitized to the truth. Effeminate be the men, emasculated at youth, and black women regroup, defeminize who disputes. It's like a drug to compete. Don't believe me. See the fruits. It's time we men rise up, take a stand in our place, redeeming all that's been lost. Let us restart with our faith. Them Hebrew, them Bantu scriptures, they're ours. We're the seed of the promise. Our king is soon to return. Nothing and no one could stop this. I was committed. I was heated about what I seen, man. I said, no. I need to say something. I need to get all my thoughts out on paper. And that was what I came up with. You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible, bro. You know, I'm getting goosebumps because I just recently, I've been listening to a lot of Killer Mike's podcast interviews, right? And I hadn't listened to his album. So until he won the Grammy, then I went to the album. And which brings me to the conversation around the state of hip hop and the content in the music in 2024. Your thoughts?
You know, honestly, it's the record labels versus the truth. Record labels will continue to put out murder, sex, drugs, lies, deception, traitorism. They'll continue to put that out. But the truth is kingship, priesthood, strength, unification. So it goes back to what we said before. The revolution will not be televised. It's because who's in control of the television? It's kind of like TV, television. Who's in control of that vision? And so we look at those conglomerates who are pushing that. And we look at so many people like Killer Mike and David Banner and many others, Mos Def, who I know he changed his name, and Talib Kweli, so many other artists and Nas will say, hey, man, hey, our people need to start thinking. We need to start looking ahead at our future. We better do something now before the door closes. And I honestly, man, Spoo, I'll be real with you. I think that time is closer now than ever before. If people don't wake up now, you're going to miss it. That's a wrap. And you can't blame anybody. It's all on you. You got the opportunity to change. And I think music is they push poison more than they do medicine. You know what I mean? Music used to be medicating. In the 80s, you asked me about a lot of artists, and I was listening to NWA, Too Short, a lot of them, right? And they were rapping about their life and their experience. But I was hooked on. Matter of fact, the artist that really got me connected or really had me hooked was Houdini. Friends,
Houdini,
yeah. How many of us have them? Friends, I was hooked on hip hop. You know, but that was the music I came on, man.
Dilated Peoples,
yes.
Dead Prez,
come on, man.
Pharaoh Munch, all the Conscious Brothers at the time.
All
spoke
the
about the
brothers.
others as well, Mos Def.
But back then,
Common Sense.
Yeah.
The Conscious Brothers, because as much as it was gangster rap, there was just a conscious rap.
Yeah.
That was big, also.
Oh, word.
Yeah, as I'm saying that we've been following you guys for many years. Like at the time, even here, you got a certain community of rappers, writers, poets, and just hip-hop lovers. And South African or SA hip-hop at the time wasn't as big as it is now. But you just have a lot of young people that are listening to all this diverse hip-hop. Mainstream, of course, you know, they're bumping all the gangster rap because that's what they want us to listen to.
Right.
But then we found our way, man, to listen to all these other conscious rappers, and the knowledge that just kept on dropping. That's what I was saying to you as you are rapping now, just giving me those bars. I was getting goosebumps, and I was just so I was embarrassed at myself for only having had to listen to Killer Mike's album after he won the Grammy, because he was spitting some amazing stuff. And all of his interviews, even though I was listening to them before the album, he's always been a conscious brother. So when I find brothers like yourselves, and the older we become, it's our responsibility to influence the young guys to incorporate this message or this heavy content into their lyrics. How do we do that? Because they just want to make a hit and make money.
Yeah. And that's the problem. It's element of oppression. It's almost like when a tragedy hits a certain neighborhood and the news comes out, and the news reporters and the stations, they all come out and they want to report what happened. They don't go to the conscious person. They go to the unconscious person who's, it's kind of like the Matrix, the person who took the blue pill, not the one who took the red pill. And then they go to those who have no pure thought of our people. And that seems to be the person many folks start listening to. Like they're the representative of all of us. I think the way forward, man, for a lot of people is a decision. A decision to rebel. A decision to separate from the quote unquote norm. You know, especially with hip hop. I mean, you know, when you're struggling, you ain't got a whole lot of money and you in the streets, you hustling. I know that life. I came from that. I get it. But when you're out there, it's like, yo, at some point you have to make a decision to shift gears and find a different way. I went from selling crack, flushing it down the toilet, to selling weed and stopping, to selling clothing. Now, clothing ain't, that ain't hurting nobody. That's clothes, quote unquote, it ain't hurting nobody. But I found a different way. Was it easy? Nah. But I had to go through that journey and I had to make a decision. So I started selling clothing. Then I found myself in multi-level marketing companies and doing different things. I found myself getting a job. I found myself going to school. I found myself doing things a little bit different that would be that would minimize the harm to myself and my community. But it would also increase more opportunities. I think it starts with a decision. Everybody has to decide, what's it all about? What's it worth? And go get it.
How do we make young people to be conscious in their raps?
I think it's the same thing, but at the same time,
not only the rappers, even the vocalists.
How
do we conscientize their mind?
More content that isn't commercial. Start listening to the ones who are. So I would say this for anybody who is an artist who has a mindset of more consciousness. Even those who are public, but they still enjoy those inspirational music, inspirational songs. You're doing what you're doing with the labels. I would say this: start putting on your own events. You made some money. Start putting on your own events and allowing the music that really does something for you. Allow those artists a stage. And then what you'll find yourself is drifting away from the norm, especially when your contracts are up, to start going toward what you really love. And then set your own platform.
I like that. Create your garden, the bees will come.
The Bible says, the Bible puts it this way: don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So you're doing all this stuff, or you've done all this stuff. Okay, cool. Start putting something else together over here. That's why I like Nipsey Hussle. The one thing I like about Nipsey Hussle, he owned his own masters. He owned his own stuff. He started doing his own thing. Many other artists have done so, but a lot of them are not public with it. Start doing that. Put your own events together. Even here in South Africa, put your own events together. Things that are more beneficial to the people. Start feeding them that. And then start opening doors of opportunities for others. Create your own record labels. Set up your own distribution network or your own line of communication with the fans and start presenting these other artists and start shifting your musical talents. After you're done with your contract, start writing new stuff. Don't renew the contract. Don't renew it. Do your own. You don't need the labels as much as you think you do. They need you a whole lot more than they tell you.
And I heard the 360 deal that was created by, I think, Lyra Cohen. He ran a record label called 300, I think. I think it's with YouTube now. Universal Music Group has just laid off hundreds, if not thousands, of workers. Not only them, and a couple of other companies as well. And it looks like record companies are starting to become tech companies
Yeah.
as opposed to record labels now. Will that still continue to benefit us? Because even that money for a stream is not money at all.
No.
And I also heard over the past couple of weeks that in the US, I don't know which politician it is who was pushing for a bill that's going to benefit musicians because this streaming part is not making us much.
No.
Yes, we're making money off of gigs, events, merchandise, gate takings, and all of the other businesses that we're involved in on the side. But I don't want to lie to you. Right now, I feel like we are all getting robbed by these streaming companies because we don't know behind the scenes.
Right.
They're telling us that 1 million streams is this amount of money.
Right.
It's like with the data as well, with our cell phones. It's like they tell you that you only have 1 gig remaining. We don't know.
Right.
Is it fair
We
for
probably
an
got 100.
artist? Do you know what I mean? And how do artists get out of that? Because for me, I look at it like there's going to be more slavery coming. Because it's like, it's only them that are making the money. Because I also just get to find out that these record companies are all interlinked and they all have got shares in these streaming platforms. So it's like we're their slaves now.
Yeah.
Because we're generating streams daily for them.
Yeah, daily, regularly. New artists coming out with new songs. Old artists coming out with new songs to remain relevant. It's all like they pay you enough so you don't quit and you work hard enough so you don't get fired. It's the rat race. You know, that's all it is, man. And honestly, I think artists have to come together and create your own platforms.
Thank you. Create our own, bro.
Create your own tech. Okay, so you realize all these labels are coming together and making their own tech companies. You do it.
We disrupt them, right?
Disrupt. Change the game.
The irritating thing, though, is that then later on they come with the dollar. Because we don't have the money, we're the creatives. They always come with the big money to buy you out.
Okay, so this is what I learned, like with this whole BRICS deal that's going on, you know, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, right? What they've done is they're not creating a whole new currency. They created a whole new system, a whole new platform, like what is the one, cryptocurrency? The platform
like
is
Bitcoin.
Blockchain,
Bitcoin,
yes.
Yeah.
So they created a whole new platform, or in other words, they set up something to allow currency to exchange and to flow. So you got the Chinese yuan, you've got the Russian rubles, you got all these different currencies that are operating on a different platform, right? So at what point do we decide we'll create our own? You know what the problem is with black people? We keep following everybody. We're the first people. Why we keep following everybody? Let's look at God's currency. Let's look at Africa. Africa is not underdeveloped. I'm here, y'all. Like, real talk, I'm here on the continent. Africa's not underdeveloped. It's overexploited. All these minerals, 60% of the world's cocoa coming out of Ghana. So create a currency that cocoa backs. 93 to 95% of the world's ferrochrome and platinum comes out of South Africa. So create a currency that is backed by that. Congo, look at the coltan and the other minerals that come out of there. They even found a rock that generates electricity out of the Congo.
Real life Wakanda.
Real life platinum vibranium. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes when I see those videos, I'm like, you shouldn't have shot that.
Yeah.
You just kept quiet.
Look, I tell people when you find something, shut up.
Shut up about it. Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. Keep that locked in. Let your currency be backed by that. How come Africa can't rise? I believe it. I believe black people are supposed to be on top, not the bottom. The head, not the hell. Above and not beneath. In front, not behind. I believe we're supposed to. So why would we keep staying in the background? I'm not with that. And I hear so many black people say, oh, it'd be our children. It'd be those who come after us. Forget all that. You know what our motto with UGKA is? Especially with me as president, we don't have next. We got now. I'm not putting it off on my children to spearhead these things. I'm not going to be a coward. I can do it right here, right now. That way they build from my shoulders and beyond. And I think that's the mindset that every single one of us is supposed to have. Let's do it right now. So then that way our children will take it and go beyond where we at. But if we starting right here at the bottom and we're like, no, our children would do it, then we telling our children to build from the bottom. You coward. You should have did it right here, right now while you alive. So put in that work. Let's make it happen. Let's create the currency. Let's create the backing. We don't even have to create the backing of the currency. God already did. It's already here on the continent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to create that. Let everything that's right here back everything. The most sunshine, the continents around the world that get the most sunshine is right here in the motherland. Everybody comes from the motherland. Why we need everybody else? And those in the diaspora, you know what they've done? Here's the real. I feel like I'm on a platform, right?
Go right ahead. Go in, bro. Go in. Don't censor yourself. Go in, bro.
But here's the deal. They took two things from us. And when I say they, I mean all these colonizers and enslavers. They took two things from us. One, they took the land. But before they could take the land, they took the people. Those are their greatest assets, the people in the land. So it's imperative that the diaspora come home. Get rid of this word called visa. That's a French word. It's not even African. It's not Bantu. It's not Hamitic. It's nothing. It's not even a word that is related to Africa. Get rid of that stuff and set new boundaries for our cultural relevance. Then number two, they took the land. They exploited it, overexploited it. All this stuff that's rich, Nigeria rich in oil. Why you keep giving it to everybody else when it's supposed to be right here? How come you can't trade your oil with the other African countries and they trade what they got to benefit the whole continent? We could trade amongst one another and be the wealthiest continent in the world. It's meant to be that way, but we want to keep giving it to everybody else. It's because we fear them. Why? I don't fear them. I don't fear if you white, Chinese, Jewish, whatever the case is. I don't fear you. You are who you are. I am who I am. I don't believe in myself to be human. I'm not human. I'm a God. I was made in the image and likeness of the Creator, God, the Creator, the Most High. So nini na nini, Yah. So why would I think of myself as any less than that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm meant to rule. I'm meant to reign alongside my brothers and my sisters. We're supposed to win. Don't look like losing. You know what I'm saying? So why we keep giving everything to them? Trusting them to, you guys lead. Okay, show us. And then I hear politicians asking them, please let us in the UN. Please, we need your help. You know, all this stuff that's going on in Africa, we must stand up. We just need you to help us. We need you to let us do so. Forget that, man. Take it. Take it. You know what I'm saying? Win or go home.
Nobody's going to give it to you, bro. Take it.
They're not going to. So win. I remember Coach K said this, a very popular coach in the U.S., former coach in the U.S. He said this to his team. He said, stop playing like you don't want to lose. Just go win, man. Just win. You got two options, win or lose. Stop playing like you don't want to lose. Just win. That's how I think. Just go get it, man. Go get it and come back with it.
You're here with it, the UGKA. What is that?
UGKA, United Global Kingdoms of Africa. The mindset. When we were in Ghana, we wanted to form a community before we ever became a UGKA, before we ever knew anything about South Africa. Our focus was, as diaspora, to go to Ghana, go to Africa, period, develop a community, start working among brothers and sisters, and develop something that is self-sustainable and that will grow and expand throughout the rest of the continent. Didn't work for us in Ghana at that time. Came down to South Africa later on, as I mentioned, in April 2023. I came out here, connected with the king of the Imbo Kingdom, King Bhungane.
King Bhungane.
Yes, sir. So connected with him and had a phenomenal conversation. This whole role for UGKA wasn't even meant for me. It was supposed to be given to somebody else at the time. But I seen the opportunity that, we need to do this. And that person who it was meant for, they didn't see it. They weren't for it. They didn't have the time or the energy for it or whatever. But I seen it as an opportunity for us to start coming together. And we don't have a lot of time on the clock to be playing with it. So I took it. I said, man, forget that. I'm taking that. Let's go forward. We need this to happen. We need our people to come together. And I believe without a shadow of a doubt, even to date, 10 months later, that the Most High is still with me. So King Bhungane started United Kingdoms of Africa. But he shared with me something, a vision. He said, it's a global kingdom. It's all of us all over the place. And I said, I agree with your vision. I agree with that. And I have a vision that the Most High gave me as well. So we're going to unite these. We're going to find a way to come together and make this thing happen for the benefit of all African descendants worldwide and here on the continent. So UGKA the purpose is to unite the kingdoms and unite the people. And start thinking differently and start mobilizing, making stuff happen. Like Malcolm X said it best. He had a quote who said, the biggest mistake of the movement is trying to organize a sleeping people. First wake up the people, then you get movement. So we're just doing both at the same time.
How?
So one way we're doing it is exposing people to the opportunity and the truth about Africa. And 2, the truth about our ancestry and who we are. And 3, the future that we have if we don't forsake the ordinance or the way of life of our ancestors. You know, the righteous living of our ancestors that was given by the Most High. You know, I think that's the way forward. And that's what we teach people and show people. And not just to be like preachy, but to be active in doing it. I'm not waiting for you to do it. Now I'm already doing it and showing you so that you can make a decision. Yeah, I'm locking arms with that. I'm going to work. Or, nah, I ain't with that. So we're doing it by developing community, putting forth economic work, doing stuff in Soweto. We just acquired a building in Soweto to start doing business.
Nice.
Doing stuff. Yeah.
You've acquired a building at NKOSI.
Yeah.
Well done, bro.
Have
NKOSI
to.
means in the hood.
Yeah. We in the hood, man. We born and raised in the hood. You know? But doing something out there, you know, we in Soweto because we believe the people out there, like Soweto's the largest township
in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All over the world.
And you guys are at the right spot. You're literally a block away from Soweto TV, and you're at the most busiest street in Soweto and iconic, where two Nobel Prize recipients come from. I'm sure you've heard of it,
and
right?
Nelson Mandela, yes.
Yeah, and you've seen the vibe there in that street on weekends.
Oh yes.
Well done for investing there, bro. Well done. And did you see your dollars going a long way?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine a lot of African American brothers and sisters don't know that dollars can go a long way here. I see a lot of them squashed up in New York City saying, I'm paying $5,000 a month rental.
Yeah.
It's just I'm like, $5,000 a month rent. You can get a mansion in South Africa with that amount of money.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny too, because most black people don't make a lot of money, but just with the little we might get, it goes a far way. You know what COVID taught me? A lot of people looked at it as a negative. I'm optimistic, so I look for the positive. I look for the opportunities. COVID taught me you can work remotely. So when COVID first hit, when I told you one of the educators at the building I was working with, and then everything shut down, I was the first person to teach my class online via Zoom. I was the only person doing it. I did it immediately. And it's not no pride to myself. I'm just saying that's just what it was. I started teaching my class because I got all black boys. I'm like, no. We staying connected, fellas. And this is middle school, ages 11, 12, 13, and some who hit 14 years old. It's like, no, we're going to stay connected. And the next thing you know, they started teaching remotely. Next thing you know, everybody's on this, all these corporations. Like, yeah. So that taught me, like, yo, man, we could build this thing remotely. So I look at folks, I'm like, man, if you're making $4,000, $5,000 a month, $2,000, $3,000 a month, go overseas. Talk to those companies. Be like, look, man, you can have a solid employee working for y'all, but living overseas, or you can go scout another person. But the reality is you still want to make money. I can still work for the company, but I'm just not going to live over here. I'm going to live over there.
Look at you, bro. You're at the right address.
Yeah.
I know at least 3, maybe 4 billionaires that live around the neighborhood. And what a coincidence. I live down the road too.
Oh, word. Yeah.
I didn't know that you live here.
Yeah.
What a beautiful home, bro.
Thank you, man.
Beautiful home, big yard, stunning.
Yeah.
Congratulations, my brother. I love the green.
Yeah, man. We all came together to make this work. One of the attorneys on the team, she got this place locked in, so we went to work. We went to work since we got over here.
Well done. We'll be seeing each other more often. I'm literally down the road.
Oh, yeah.
And it's quite beautiful that you're here. You know, I was speaking to you before the interview. Like, do you actually know who lives on that other block? Like one of the wealthiest. It's just that I don't want to. Don't want the people to know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give them the
don't
address
do
of
that.
the location. But I'm like, you're living just a block away from one of the wealthiest men in Africa, right? And you are in the richest square mile in the whole continent.
That's crazy.
And let's talk about the neighborhood and let's talk about those type of things, because people who haven't come here before don't know how beautiful and amazing it is. Yeah. And actually, I'd love for the production crew, to sort of, as we are speaking now, put in visuals of some of the videos that they were recording at Vilakazi, in Mpumalanga, in Mandela Square, all of that stuff. So, you know, as we're speaking, maybe they can see the background visuals of you know, some of the footage that you'd like to show to the audience out there. You know what I mean? And how are you living here? How are you finding it? How has it been? Have you made any friends?
Yeah, man, my goodness. I done developed so many relationships with folks. It's ridiculous because I'm a people person, man. I need to connect with folks.
Yeah.
But no, I'm finding it okay. So I've lived here. I've lived in Santon, Bryanston, Centurion. I've just been around, man. And then I'm also in the hoods. I go into the hoods from Alex. I went to Deep Sloot. Some people were like, "You went to Deep Sloot?"
Well done.
Went to Deep Sloot, man. Went to Soweto. I love Soweto. Obviously, we're in Soweto. Out in Mpumalanga, Northwest Province, Cape Town. Just connecting with people, man. You know, obviously you want to be mindful of your environments, mindful of the people you connect with. But I believe for anybody coming from the diaspora, it's imperative to something I teach the folks who work with me: learn, unlearn, relearn. Those three things. It's imperative to learn, unlearn, and relearn, and connect with people. It's all about the return and the reconnection. And that goes even for folks on the continent. Reconnect with your brothers and sisters. Learn what they've learned over there. And for those who are over there, reconnect with your brothers and sisters. Learn what's been happening back home. And start thinking about the way forward. You know what I'm saying? So, I enjoy it, man. I love it, man. It's chill. It's peaceful, you know?
Our biggest fight politically, and as the children often do, is, you know, us fighting to get our land back. The land is the most important issue. And one of the things that impressed me with the video that I'm asking the guys to sort of play the visuals in the background is I was impressed that you got a community or a couple of people or friends, I don't know if it's your friends or associates, together to come to Mzansi, and you took them on a tour to Mpumalanga.
Yes, sir.
And I saw you guys also shopping for a farm, for land. And I'm like, okay, I'm impressed, because a lot of visitors just take people to the safari, or just the Santin, do whatever, Cape Town, and then they're out of here. But the land issue, what do you want to do with the land? Because I also saw you shopping around for the farm and for the land. What's the vision? Because we always encourage people to say, get back the land, but the vision has to be to work the land. I'm currently working the land too.
Yes, sir.
With my partners. I do property development. Let's talk about your plans for the land and your UGKA vision in getting all of our African American brothers and sisters together to sort of I don't know what you guys' plans are with the land and what you want to do in Mpumalanga.
Yeah, what has to happen, man, and I've been watching a lot of the even the whole team, we've been watching a lot of the movement out here in South Africa, and taking back the land is number one priority. I think that is, that's number one priority. The people must have the land, and not just the people here born and raised in South Africa, but even her children who haven't been here for years. Even all the continent, not just South Africa, but the people who belong on the land must be on the land. One of the visions for UGKA is developing residential living, and then having agricultural plans and living, and then commercial. And that has to happen. In the U.S., there was a gentleman in 1905 who purchased 40 acres in Tulsa, Oklahoma, named Ottawa Gurley, O.W. Gurley. And he developed he partnered with other people who were bankers and other blacks who had money, right? A little bit of monies. And he purchased the land, 40 acres in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which would later on become the Greenwood District. And then 15, 16 years later, it was destroyed. But it was coined as Black Wall Street. They had 600 businesses, and this is the vision of UGKA.
I've seen those pictures, bro.
You've seen that.
How they're looking proper. They had banks, they had schools, they had churches, they had everything working.
All of this.
With just their dollar.
And the funny thing is, on 40 acres. 40 acres in hectares.
What is 40 acres in hectares? Can you calculate it there and give us the number?
Yeah.
Just go to Google, what is 40 acres in hectares?
Or exactly. Like it's anywhere between 12 and 16 hectares, something like that.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of land to develop that. So imagine, with the vastness of Africa, South Africa, Mzansi, Azania, imagine how much more can be done.
Mutapa, that's another name.
Mutapa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Imagine how much more can be done if we have our own lands. I looked at, I did the statistics, 72% of the land in South Africa.
40 acres, it's 16 hectares.
16 hectares.
Beautiful. That's what we currently have. We're doing a development there. We're doing
nice.
200 houses, yeah.
Nice. So imagine they had 600 businesses, like you said, school system, banking, post office, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, movie theater, all this stuff on just 40 acres. 10,000 people circulating through there. You know, the money, the currency that kept going around, 36 to 100 times it circulated before it ever left the community.
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall
Imagine if we had just replicated that years ago. Imagine how big it would be by now. Everywhere. Black people, the diaspora, all over the world.
Yeah. And that's our mindset with UGKA.
Bro.
That's it. No need to reinvent the wheel, bro. No. Pick up what our forefathers did and do it again, but better. But doing it better without needing to succumb to the move and the flow of systems that we never created. That's what our goal is. Develop residential so people have homes. Develop agriculture so people can eat and survive. At least if you got those two, people will live. Then we thrive when we start creating commercial, start creating markets that we start getting from food from black farmers. Have all those foods available. Black farmers are successful. They continue to grow and go. Then you start creating other companies, insurance companies, car dealerships, painting companies, all the tech companies. There's a gentleman in Zimbabwe who created a TV.
Yeah.
No need of power.
That runs, with no power,
Helicopter, cars, like Tesla. No, we don't need Tesla as much as we need our own.
Yeah.
Like, we could do our own stuff. And what does it operate on? Radioactive waves. Ain't that something? It's crazy. But look at the intuitiveness, the innate greatness that is in the mind of each and every one of us. All we need to do is do it. So UGKA, our motto is, we don't have next, we got now. We're going to just go ahead and do it. And we're going to inspire that. So if anything ever happens to me, if my life goes, and I pray the Most High doesn't even allow it to happen, I pray I live till great old age. But no matter what, this should inspire every single Bantu, every single African in the diaspora. Go hard. Do it, but here at home. We've done it overseas. Didn't work. I mean, it worked, but it was destroyed because we're the lower population. Here in Africa, we the greater population.
And how does it feel to walk around and see just people that look like you everywhere?
Oh, man. Sometimes I get stopped and be like, hey, what's going on, brother? Hey, what's going on? And then I see the ladies in Mzansi. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Ooh, girl, what's going on? Hold on, let me slow down.
and what you're seeing around is not BBLs. It's a real thing,
ain't no BBL.
It's a natural thing,
that's just big. BBB beautiful. Oh, man. I'm telling you, I was like, man, I'm going to mess around. I had 10, 20, 40, 30 kids. Something's going to happen.
And the sisters are stunning, bro. All they say, South Africa's got the most beautifulest woman in the continent.
Oh, gorgeous.
Ethiopia's got beautiful sisters.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's beautiful sisters all over the continent.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. South Africa, guys, I told you guys, you my sisters, That's why we love all of y'all. And one of the things about our sisters is it's natural, bro.
And they're vibrant. They got great personality. They full of energy, full of fervor. So I'm like, yo, I see y'all sisters. So shout out. I'm single, free to mingle. Holla at you.
Oh, you're not married yet?
Nah.
Okay.
So I was married before. I got a divorce 3 years ago. I'm single, free to mingle.
Work on yourself. Don't worry.
That's my focus. Number one is me.
There's a lot of amazing sisters.
Yeah. Number one is like, if you don't contribute, I don't distribute. That's simple as that. I got to keep working. I got stuff to do.
Do you have any kids?
I got 2. Yeah, a girl and a boy back in the States.
How old are they?
So my daughter, she's 10 years old. My son will be 9 in June.
Nice.
And guess what, man? They're coming out here with me.
Still, bro.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah, they're going to love this, man.
You've already started sprinkling the idea?
Oh, yeah, please, man. I've gone from watering the flowers to just dumping the whole water. So they're like, we got to go to Africa. Yeah, they ready, man. They ready. They're looking forward to it.
Fact checking there. Please check how much government spends on grants per month, or maybe let's say per annum. How much does the South African government spend on grants? Why am I asking that? Because I know that, I also listen, shout outs to Dr. Umar Johnson. I listen to a lot of his rhetoric, and he's an amazing brother in being unapologetically speaking our rhetoric and for our people. he speaks about you guys have got over $1 trillion that circulates amongst the black 2 trillion, if not 3, maybe actually even.
Yeah.
That circulates around amongst the black community. That the same problem that we have here, I see that it's the same problem that we have in the States, where we've got all of this money, but it just leaves our hands immediately.
Quickly.
And you've just told me that the Black Wall Street, the dollar circulated over 30 times. How do we go back there? How do we conscientize our people to come together and let this money circulate amongst ourselves many times over before it leaves our hands?
According to the GDP.
Yeah, according to the GDP, yeah. Okay. Before you answer the question, let me just... The National Treasury estimates that it'll spend, let me see, 260 billion. Say 200 on, this is on social grants in the 2024-2025 financial year, 3.6% of GDP. This is a significant increase from the 2023-2024 financial year when the government spent 250 billion. So say 250 billion. I don't know if billion because I know a million is 6. I think billion is 9 zeros, right? So yeah, so do this. Say 250 billion, so 250, Nabo Zirabai 9, and then divide that by 18. It's actually 19 now, it's 18.9. So divide by 19. Say 250, besu fagabo Zirabai 9. Besu to divide by 19. I just want to hear the number. What's the number?
I think it's times, because of the 250 billion US times.
Oh, sorry, multiplied. Yeah.
And 19.
How much is that? Multiplied.
Starting to do it in my mind, right?
Times 19, right?
Yeah.
It is 4.7 trillion.
4.7. It's almost the same. Almost the same. Because you said you guys spend 2 trillion, right?
Yeah.
Amongst the black community. How
So
do we get our people back there?
not necessarily amongst the black community, just that is our spending power.
Spending
in
power.
general in the U.S. So imagine spending it all over here. So how do we do it? Create more opportunities, more reasons for people to go ahead and invest, for people to go ahead and purchase. Black-owned businesses. So one of the reasons why we went over to Soweto to start an office over there is because a lot of those businesses are over there are black.
Villa Gaza Street, yeah. Yeah.
So
I think they're all black, yeah.
Yeah. So circulate everything amongst us. I'm not gonna. So I told some folks, and I have a meeting with a lot of the owners, business owners over there. I don't have any desire to compete with your company. If you sell food, I don't. If you sell paint, I don't. So I look for what can we do to contribute to this, and then how can we motivate people to start spending right here, and then from there we expand to the rest of Soweto, and then the rest of South Africa, and then the rest of the Southern Africa, from Namibia over to Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique, and then the rest of the continent, and so on and so forth. This is how we do it. We start one piece at a time, not slowly. Just start it one piece at a time. And the one piece is creating reasons. Business people, black business owners, create more reason for people to come and shop with you. And the way UGKA is coming in strong, is that we're going to motivate that as well as a diaspora collective. And then we're going to connect with other diasporans to say, yo, stop investing your money over there in the US and the UK and South America and Asia and Australia. Come right here to the continent. What's your business idea? Start it right here. Right here. Let's start in South Africa. Lock arms with UGKA. Let's go ahead and push forward and expand. But expand hard, strong, like go hard. And make black people only want to spend within this credible circle. And as we continue to expand and more people born and raised in South Africa who have business ideas and they start creating things, good. Let's start it right here and expand further. And then we start connecting with those in Zambia, start connecting with those over there in Benin, and so on and so forth. So the only way it happens is that we decide and that we start one piece at a time, but move collectively. And if one person goes down, 2 come up. It's like in the U.S. They say, we baby's kids. We don't die, we multiply.
Yeah.
You take 1 out, 3 more pop up. You take 3 out, 50 pop up. You have to take everybody out.
Yeah.
But that ain't going to happen because every bit of your resources and every bit of your success all the way around the world relies on us and relies on our lands.
Are some of the people that you know that you're starting to tell about this vision in the U.S. listening?
Oh yes, they listening. Now I don't get to tell everybody just yet, but I honestly believe that the more we keep pushing, people are going to start catching wind of what's
with
going on.
like-minded people in the beginning.
Yeah, I don't lock arms.
Those
with
who are
everybody.
willing and
Yeah.
those who are visionaries and those who are, you know, who
Yeah.
think
I know.
alike.
Yeah, I ain't locking arms with everybody. No, heck no. I ain't boo-boo the fool. You know, I'm not locking arms with everybody. But those who have the right, like even O.W. Gurley for Black Wall Street, he didn't lock arms with everybody. 10,000 patrons, 10,000 residents in that area. 600 businesses. That means he locked arms with at least 600 like-minded people to service 10,000. I'm looking for my 600. And then from there, we expand to another 6 and another 7 and another 1,000, 12,000, 50,000 who are like-minded. That's how we do it. And service the rest of the people.
Because even when you follow the civil rights movement, Dr. King may so rest in peace. Malcolm X may so rest in peace. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois' philosophy was integration, right, and equality, same as the civil rights movement. But Marcus Garvey was saying, let us be independent. Let us move back home. Let's go start our own thing. Imagine if it had happened then.
60s.
How far we would be now. And there's also voices now that are saying, no, actually for Dr. King to be assassinated, it's because his rhetoric was starting to change because he had woken up.
Right. Yeah, so 2 weeks before he died, he told Martin Luther King Jr., he said to Harry Belafonte, he said, I fear I may have integrated my people into a burning house. His focus and his push was for integration, where Malcolm X was saying, no, segregation, separation. Malcolm X's focus was, let us heal our own selves first. Let us focus on the well-being of our own selves first. Then as we grow, now we can help the rest of y'all. But until we can't help y'all until we grow and we heal. I love his philosophy. I was never a Muslim or anything like that, but that mindset was, we need to heal our own selves first. And then after him, Black Panther Party, where they started focusing on the action of that. So I wrote in that song, I said, Marcus Garvey told us, eyes up. Malcolm told us, rise up. And countless Negroes died from their lives. Will you wise up, young travelers? It's because the mindset is like, look, get some wisdom, stand up, come together. If Martin Luther King recognized 2 weeks before he died, I think we need to be attentive to that. You need to pay attention. Stop trying to integrate. I'm not saying all white people are bad or Asian or Australian or wherever you are around the world. I'm not saying all folks are bad. I'm just saying number one priority is us.
And we are capable to do for self.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm, talking about the American leaders, because even here at home, the narrative, and I love, over the past decade, there's just been a rise and a boom in creative entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Because the new generation has just seen that this jobs narrative of just us depending on the government just hasn't worked for us.
No.
And a lot of them are saying, even these grants that we're given, we're being conditioned wrong for us to just always depend on the government.
Right.
We can do our own. And that's the message that you're hearing becoming louder and louder and louder in South Africa. So for the past decade, there's just been a growth and a rise in entrepreneurship, creating our own thing, starting our own. But it needs to happen on the highest level where the government supports it. Industrialization, our own factories, and a whole lot more, right?
Absolutely.
For the guys to be empowered, for us to be able to do for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Instead of us relying and depending on the government. But then on the other side, you've got other people. Now, I know we're not talking politics here, but some people are saying, guys, go check out an interview that Dr. Moeletsi Mbeki did with Sisintiki Mazwai. And not only that interview, go search for a video of Dr. Moeletsi Mbeki. I think he had an interview with the SABC, if not ENCA or one of those news channels on YouTube. Go search for that video, Dr. Moeletsi Mbeki, where he speaks about the history of where we come from, of when we were colonized, and how the Indian people came to South Africa and farmed sugarcane in the KZN, and at some point there were wars that happened in South Africa, and there was the Boer Wars happened, and the Queen. Well, he says that. I'm not paraphrasing him 100% correctly, guys. Please don't be hard on me on this one. The Queen, well, let me say the royal family eventually put, as he says, our current ruling party to sort of manage us. So because we are under this system that says give, now they're saying, I'm hearing a lot of people or politicians campaigning for votes saying, we'll increase what we're giving you. Is that the right message? And how do we do for self? And he still use this system while the politicians are doing their work behind the scenes to try and get us out of this. I don't know, Lord knows how long that's going to take. How do we do it now? I know you're doing it, but how does everybody else do it now?
Yeah, that's a big political one right there.
Yeah. And I don't want to entangle you into politics here.
No. I understand. I respect. I think that's the tough part, is because there's been such a power. I think two things need to happen. Number one, politicians who are not truly for the people need to be sat down, which is why you see things happening over there and up there in Mali and Niger and Burkina Faso. The people are getting tired of it. And I think politicians need to recognize, if they're getting tired of it, don't think the rest of the people who are more the populace than you are not getting tired of it. It's either you're going to want to start being for the people, or you need to go sit down. Simple. That's number one. Number two, I think the people have to make a decision to create a whole nother system that is not relying on the government. I think government, you need to support your people. But two, I think even the people in government who start recognizing, now we really need. I remember when we were off camera, I asked you, I said, do a lot of people who make money forget where they come from?
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah. And I think some politicians, I don't know as far as South Africa, but I just learning how the world works, I would imagine even some folks in South Africa and other countries, a lot of them forget where they come from. They forget, oh, you were raised in Soweto. I started looking at, I think Ramaphosa, he's raised in Soweto. I think Malema was raised up in Limpopo, Polokwane, or something like that. You know? So I'm not saying they forget where they come from, not whatsoever, because I don't know enough about them to truly make such a judgment. But what I am saying is that some people end up forgetting you didn't grow up with that silver spoon in your mouth. You know, I think the people are going to have to remind them of that. So don't forget, you one of us. So start focusing more of your attention on the well-being of us. I paid attention to something Malema said recently. His focus is all Africa, starting in South Africa. Because all the people need to start thinking together, coming together, you know. So as far as politics, I think that's what has to happen. I think the people are going to have to speak up, and not just speak, but act on it. And show a united front, a seriousness about coming together. And then starting your own businesses, starting things, creating a currency that circulates. For example, Orania. You heard of Orania?
Well, of course.
Sure. They got their...
Shout out to Penuel. He just went to Orania, I think, a month ago.
Yeah.
He just did an interview.
Yeah.
A lot of people are mad at Penuel.
I watched that interview.
I love Penuel. It's
what's
so
the
brave,
leader's
man.
name? Stridham? Yo son, Stridham, something like that. Yeah. He took a bold move on that one. But I love that. Do it, man. That's good. You know?
That's my boy. Shout out to Penuel.
Shout out, man.
And that's what Penuel says as well. Is that we can learn so much from them.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, he's saying, guys, I'm not selling out, but I want to go and learn how they're doing it, right?
Yeah. Like, why not? Like, why reinvent the wheel? If something is working, find out how it's working. And duplicate what works as long as it's good. Simple. But what they're doing, they have their own currency. The Amish in the United States, they utilize the U.S. dollar, but they also have their own flow of things. You know, and feel free, anybody correct me if I'm wrong on anything. But think about that. They have their own flow, their own movement of things. How come the people in Africa can't do the exact same thing? Isn't that what got Gaddafi killed? So what happens if everybody decides we rolling with this? Yeah, you ain't taking us all out. You're going to be hard-pressed to take everybody all over the world. It's going to be hard-pressed to do that. It's going to be World War 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's what has to happen. Everybody start like, look, we're going to come together, and brilliant minds who are committed to the people start putting these things together. Start working together and make that happen. Otherwise, sit your little cowardly self down somewhere.
But makwala a cheche. Basically, just move away if you're saying it can't be done, and make way for the rest of us that are busy doing it. Right?
Yeah. We don't have any. There's no more time for cowards. We're going to expose you. If you're a coward, you're getting exposed. And the rest of us with that lion heart, we're going to go do what we need to do. It's not to say that you're courageous at all times. You know, fear is real. It happens. You're just not going to let fear rule. I remember my former pastor told me this. He taught us this too. He said, it's either your fear or your feelings will dictate your faith, or your faith will dictate your feelings. You choose. I choose to let the faith dictate it, because the feelings fluctuate. They go up and down all the time. But the faith can be consistent. So I roll with that. And I tell every single one of us, roll with that and go hard with it. We don't have next, we got now.
How do we participate or know more about UGKA? Do you guys have a website? Is it open to the public? How do people know more about the movement?
Yeah, go to www.ugkanow.com. You know, learn about current events, learn about the things we've been doing. We will be continually updating it with more stuff that we've got going on, even opportunities to for other companies that we will partner with, for them to chime in and to have some of their information on our website. We want people, as long as they're black owned. Now, that's not to say we don't want to, you know, partner or collaborate with other companies that are not black owned, but we do want to see that, you know, like Malcolm X said, we want to make sure our people are good to go too. So don't try to, if you're a different nationality, you ain't leaving us out on this one. You know what I'm saying? This is the United Global Kingdoms of Africa. You're not going to leave us out. So go to ugkanow.com. Simple as that.
I'd like for us to even have a longer conversation, but for the sake of time, and I'd actually like for us to invite one or two of my friends or brothers, maybe even sisters. I don't know. I'll speak to either Penuel or Nota or Sismandi Samasheko. It would be nice for us to do a part 2 of this interview.
Yeah.
And because I can only ask so much, but it's also nice to have another brilliant mind join us on the conversation. So, you know, we can touch on larger issues. But for me, I see it as a relationship building exercise.
Exactly.
This is just the beginning. I love what you guys are about. I love the energy, love the positivity, and your love for our country and the continent. And the fact that you're coming here humbly so to come and develop and come and add value.
Right.
And, you know, as a lot of our brothers and sisters always say out there, hey, don't worry, you don't have to understand what I'm saying.
I understand the energy.
So rather your money and your dollars and your mind, your creativity and your intelligence, because there's so much value that we can extract or benefit off of our brothers, our African American brothers and sisters coming back home. So I love what you all are doing.
Thank you, and we're willing and ready to partner with other people of brilliant minds who have the right heart and right mindset. You know, no manga business.
No manga business.
Yeah, we don't do that.
They're teaching you well. Shout out to the guys. Yeah.
No manga business. We ain't playing that game. You know, if you on that, you know, you immediately X'd out. We're not fooling with you. But people who have the right heart, right mindset, we ready to partner. We ready to collaborate and make things happen. We also realize that, you know, there's money, there's grants and other business people, you know, in South Africa who are ready to make some moves. You know, become a sponsor with us. Connect with us on ugkanow.com. We're moving, you know, and we're moving with anybody ready to move. You know, not everybody has the mindset. That's fine. But we're moving no matter what. Because it's not to come and take over. It's to come and to collaborate so that we collectively take over what belongs to us, you know what I'm saying? To all of us. So I'm
excited, man, for our next engagement. So this is part 1. Wait up for part 2. As we wrap it up, maybe just on a more lighter note, what are some of the things that you've just fallen in love with in South Africa? Have you listened to any South African music, South African food?
Oh man, listen. Okay, so music, that Amapiano is different. Oh,
that look drum is hitting different.
Listen, first song I got hooked on out here was Hamba Wayne. I say, yo, this is flat. Yo.
Yeah.
Then that Hamba Juba. I'm hooked on all these songs, man. Amapiano it's a completely different vibe. I'm loving it. And, you know, I may not necessarily understand the language yet. That Soft Life song is fresh.
Yeah.
Soft Life, oh, man. But the language, the energy and how folks communicate and how folks are smiling and cheerful. I've even seen people yelling at one another, but it's no violence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The food, y'all got me hooked on beef stew, lamb.
Yeah.
Oh, that samp is bomb.
Yeah,
Oh, my
scalp,
goodness.
yeah.
You know, all that. The food.
Tripe?
Yeah, I did try tripe.
Okay, nice.
Hey, listen, I'm not huge on tripe, but they season that thing just right, yo.
Yeah.
There's another dish, cowhead. I can't remember the.
Oh, it's called.
Yeah. Oh man. I said, yo.
Nice, yeah.
Wait a minute here.
And then nyama and club. Yeah.
I had that. I was able to just, you know, all that, man. I'm loving the energy. As I said before, the ladies, y'all. Whew. But, you know, I'm working. I'm focused, so y'all got to wait. But, you know, hey, unless you creep through and you solid, you know. But it's the energy, man, the life, everything about here. The rural areas. Like I said, food made in that big old black pot. I love that. It's just the energy, man. I love every bit of South Africa, man. I think, obviously, like you said, there's challenges, load shedding, land issues. All that exists. Water shedding now, which is ridiculous. But all these issues, but the Ubuntu still exists. People still love one another. Like, I can get down with that. I'm with that. You know what I'm saying?
I'd like to take you to Inzalo Yelanga. Because I saw you in Mpumalanga, obviously shopping for some land there. Excuse me. We go to Inzalo, which is in Mpumalanga as well. September every year. I just recently started after COVID.
Okay.
Because of the knowledge that one has been getting. Because you and I both agree that a lot of the consciousness, I think a lot of people are even saying we're in that age of the Aquarius, right? Where a lot of people's third eyes open. A lot of people are acquiring a lot of knowledge. A lot of people are starting to attain more and more knowledge of self. People are waking up, which is a beautiful time.
Beautiful.
Incredible time in our the fact that it's happening in our lifetime. Inzalo Yelanga, basically, it's called Adam's calendar, colonizer's name, because you know, it's like Christopher Columbus discovered America. How do you discover something that's already been there? So Adam is a guy who obviously named it Adam's calendar, and our late great Koko Credo Mutame, so rest in peace, didn't like that name, but the place is called Inzalo Yelanga, which is, he called it the holiest place in Africa. So I'd like to take you guys there with your group. We do it in September. We go there to celebrate our New Year. People call it the African New Year.
Yeah, the African.
Happens on the 23rd of September every year.
Okay.
So we'll talk about it off air. But what you're going to experience there is something amazing. You're never going to be the same again. You're never going to be the same again. After the 23rd of September 2024, moving forward, your life is going to change even forever, spiritually. Because what you're going to experience there, and the amount of energy that you're going to absorb there, and just the beauty of the place, and just the amazing natural things that happen on that actual day will surprise you. And it's things that you're going to tell people about and they're not going to believe you. But it's a beautiful thing. Spiritual, positive, calming, amazing. And it's the right time for us to cross into the new. They call it solstice, right? Solstice, right? Yeah. But we'll talk about it more off air. I just wanted to thank you, man, for your time, bro. May God bless you. Maybe for the last time, last words to the people out there before our part 2. Look at them in the camera and speak to them.
Last words I have for you. We don't have next. We got now. Get started. UGKAnow.com.
And message to the diaspora community, your last words to them.
That's easy. Come home. You are African with no memory and American with no privilege. Come home. Period.
See you on the next episode, bro. Love you.
My brother. Love you too, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
President Lavell, Walton, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next episode. It's all love. UGKAnow.com or .co.za?
.com. Yes, sir.
Nice one. www.ugkanow.com. Danko.